For over 20 years, I've dedicated my life to bringing you the very best selling, marketing, and business building strategies to keep your business thriving. Get ready to experience the success you've been searching for. Welcome to the Tom Ferry Show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Tom Ferry Show, episode 89. I think this will be the most important video I do this year, just for the record. I think this is the one thing. Like if you were to ask me, what truly is the difference between someone that operates at an inspired level, who doesn't need an alarm clock to wake up in the morning, who doesn't need to be reminded to make their phone calls, who doesn't need the extra push, but instead that push just gets them into massive momentum far beyond what they were normally accustomed to, versus, that was a lot, I know, versus someone that's tired, someone that just feels like work is a grind, that why is it a struggle? And you know, you could be even successful, but still have that sort of Eeyore mindset. You know, why does this keep happening to me, right? You remember Eeyore, was that Winnie the Pooh, right? So what is the difference that makes the difference? Why is it that some people walk into the room and light it up and they just seem to be inspired all the time, and other people, I'm not calling them a full energy sucking vampire, but it just seems to be harder for them. Like, it just seems to be harder. Are you interested? Do I have your attention? Because you know where I want you to be. Let's talk about it. You ready? I've started to look at this formula. And a lot of this formula has to do with, you know, events that I'm doing and coaching that I'm doing now, and like real world stuff that I do to myself and with my personal clients and all of you on the Tom Ferry Show. And that is, we really need to look at three things. We need to look at what are our life ambitions and how does that affect our time. We need to look at our purpose, theme, and business plan all in one. We've all read Simon Sinek's Start With Why, so you know what I'm talking about. But Mike Vance, my mentor, said to me a million years ago when I asked him, what does Walt Disney and Mother Teresa and Steve Jobs and Jack Welch and all these extraordinary men and women that you were working with and coaching and helping develop, what did they all have in common? And he said 5 questions that they had answered. And the very first one was, they knew their purpose. They knew why they were on this planet. So I'm going to go from life ambitions and time to what is your purpose in business? What's the theme for the year? And then does your business plan reflect that? And then ultimately, I want to help you create a marketing plan that acts like fuel, like gasoline into your engine that ultimately drives your life. So do I have your attention? Or are you signing off? Either one is fine with me, right? But I know if you want to be over here, I know what direction we're going. So let's get into it. You ready? What I know is this. There's a lot of people out there right now when I say, so what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish next year? Well, you know, I want to sell like 25 homes. And you can just tell, like, they're in the grinder mentality over here, like, you know, transactional. I'm going to do a few deals. I'm going to make a few bucks. I'm going to pay some money in taxes. And, you know, like, you can just tell that there's not a lot of inspiration behind that. Now, on the flip side, I talk to some people and I say, what are your goals? What are you committed to next year? And they say, wow, I want to do Mount Kilimanjaro. I want to renew my vows in my relationship. And then I say, well, what about your business? Oh yeah, I got some business goals too. But see, they understand that the personal ambitions are the fuel that help drive me to go do the disciplines I have to do inside my business. You might want to rewind that and, you know, like really have that sink in, that my personal ambitions, my personal passions, the hobbies, look what I wrote down. What makes my heart sing, right? The passion, that's the purpose, the hobby, the people you love. Am I going to see that in your business plan for 2017? Am I going to see these ambitions being stoked, which will cause the business plan to come to life? Are you with me on this? The difference between the wildly successful and the people that sell houses and just seem to be unhappy most of the time is this group over here knows why they're doing it. They know who they're doing it for. If you were with me at the summit, what did I say? Do what you love, for people you love, servicing customers that you love. And when you have that, you have greatness in your business. That's what this is about. So I want to challenge you while you're watching the Tom Ferry Show. And I got some tools and some things I'm going to give you in a minute, but hang tight with me. You ready? I'd love for you to answer the question, what makes my heart sing? Now listen, if you love to play guitar, that's fantastic, but the odds of you becoming the next guitar player for the next great rock and roll band or classical music band is probably between none and none. So your passion makes your heart sing, like I'm thinking of my Brian, right, in Santa Clarita, makes his heart sing, but he's probably not going to have his business life, you know, the income side, all that stuff be fulfilled by it. But he better do it. He better make sure that he's doing his passion. Does that make sense? Because I know when I follow his photos on Instagram that he lights up about his guitars and his music. I find that people with no hobbies, that all they do, their entire universe, is their work, then their entire life is just that, their work. You know, there's 7.2 billion people on the planet. There's got to be something else out there that motivates and inspires you. What is it? And then the second part is, I'm going to show you how you should calendar the entire year to make sure that you're putting in place the things that you love, because it gives you energy, right? It's like I go to the gym and it gives me energy. I meet new people, it gives me energy. I have dinner with my wife, it gives me energy. I see my friends on the golf course, it gives me energy to go do more. Does that make sense? Ask yourself, have I been putting off my passions? Have I been hiding in the corner of my hobbies only to do more work, to find myself grinding in a transactional environment? If the answer is yes, I'm glad I'm bringing this up. I feel like therapist Tom right now. Let's keep going. The second one is your business plan. Now I want to ask, what is the purpose of your business? See, I know why we exist. We believe that consumers are grossly underserved by the vast majority of real estate professionals. Grossly underserved to the point that when asked, how do you feel about professionals? Real estate agents in many cases get ranked way too low on the list. For people like you that represent 17% of the GDP of the US, for my friends around the world, you know your numbers, 5% from the actual transaction and the balance from things we do around our home. Housing is everything, in my opinion. And I believe that consumers are grossly underserved. So we're committed to having 10,000 members selling 50 homes a year. Figure out the math just in the US and in North America, Canada, what that means. That is our purpose. That's what we do. So we've got it as like this guiding light. What is the purpose of your business? Sell a few homes, make a few bones, right? Make some money, right? What is it? Like, if it's more, again, start with why. It's easier to do the work when it touches your heart, not just your head and not just your wallet. Does that make sense? But then the second question is, what is the word or the phrase? The word or the phrase, I would call it your theme for 2017. I've watched friends of mine, CEOs of companies that have had, I think it was Journey, the song, Don't Stop Believing, right? Like, it was all about believing that we can get to the goal. And when the times are hard, don't stop believing. And at every meeting, that song would play as a reminder. My friend Gino Blafari, big shout out to Gino, all of my Intero peeps, and now Berkshire Hathaway peeps, you know who I'm talking about. That theme resonated, and every year as the CEO, he would come out and say, this is my theme and this is our theme. And I believe whether you want to sell 15 homes a year in Indiana or you want to sell 1,100 homes a year in New York City, by giving yourself a theme, a word, a phrase that you can emotionally attach yourself to, it's like putting that Superman or Superwoman cape on. It just gives you a little more pep in the step because you've got this emotional anchor to a song, a word, or a phrase that's meaningful to you and your purpose. Now, number 3 is, I got to ask you, when are you going to complete your business plan? Because all of this gets activated by the KPIs, the key performance indicators. How many calls do we need to make? How many appointments? How many leads do we need? How many listings taken? How many listings sold? Where are they going to come from? What are the sources, right? All of that. At the end of the day, look, if you just knew your daily number, right? Take your transaction goal, times it by 50, right? Every 50 people you talk to, you should sell 1 home. Take that out over the number of transactions you want to do, therefore the number of contacts you want. This is all inside the business plan. I'm going to give it to you, just give you a heads up. And then guess what? Divide it by 9 months, because no one in real estate actually works 12. Divide it by 9, and now I know that when I make that number of conversations, when I talk to that many people, when I ask that many people questions about housing and what their goals are and what their ambitions are, have you had any thoughts of selling? No. Are you living in your dream house now? Oh, gotcha, right? Like, these opportunities happen because you're pumping the well every single day and you're doing the right thing, the right routine, the right discipline. So all of this, when is that all going to be done? And then the last one, you ready? I'm on this kick. I'm convinced that marketing acts as the fuel to the engine, not of our business, but to our life. Our life. You see, Peter Drucker said, all business is innovation and marketing. And as a sole proprietor, you're doing this work to make your life ambitions happen. Aren't we not? I mean, did you say, honey, I'm going into real estate because I'm going to work 7 days a week, have absolutely no life, have very little income, and have lots of stress and anxiety? Sign me up. Or did you go into real estate saying, I want to be my own boss. I want to be able to control my destiny. I want to be able to make the money that I want, work with the clients I want, have the freedom that I want. Well, listen, for many people over here, that didn't work out so well. For many of us that operate over here, it's why we do good marketing, to have the choices of who we want to work with and not have to be in a position where you've got to work with whoever shows up. Does that make sense? Because look, it doesn't mean there's bad leads out there. It just means there might be leads of people, human beings, that just don't match your criteria. That aren't the right person for you, and someone else should work with them instead. So that's marketing, my friend. So I wrote down 3 questions. Number 1, when are you going to complete your marketing plan? What's the deadline? This is going out in a couple days, right? So what's your deadline? Are you going to get it done the next 2 weeks, 30 days, where you literally take our marketing plan and say, for the year, here is everything that's going to happen in all of my lead sources, by the channel, Facebook, direct mail, email, open houses. You know what I'm talking about. Number 2, how are you going to track and measure it? How are you going to know what is my cost per lead and what is my cost per appointment and what is my cost per sale, so I can know in 2018 I should do a lot more of this, a little bit less of this, and these are goodwill transactions, but at the end of the day, I don't make any money doing them, right? To be able to have that kind of data on your business will just amplify everything you do going forward. But if you're not tracking and measuring every day in business, come on, 7. I don't know about you, but I think that agents that are operating like that, I know how it shows up over here. I know how it shows up, and we want to move beyond that. So how am I going to track and measure? Excel spreadsheet, yellow notepad, I don't care, right? Scratch it into the wall, how many calls, how many leads, how many appointments, right, from each source, knowing our numbers. And then the last one is, when will marketing be in my schedule? I had a wonderful conversation with about 300-ish of our elite coaching clients a few weeks back, and I said to them, the ultimate morning routine today is to spend 45 minutes on your marketing 5 days a week. Then to role play for 15 or 20 minutes, because heaven forbid you role play on clients, like that would be scary. Instead, I want to role play with peers and work on the subtleties, the cadence, right? Making sure I'm asking the right questions in the right order to ultimately serve the customer, right? To not come across as that gross salesperson, but someone that is just truly passionate about helping somebody make a decision between A or B, right? Yes or no. Like, who are you practicing with for 15 or 20 minutes? And then doing 90 minutes of appointment setting time, calling my leads, calling my past customers, staying in touch, going after new prospects. If that was your morning routine, 45 minutes of marketing, 15, 20 minutes of practicing, and then 90 minutes of appointment setting, OMG, could you imagine where your business would be in the next 12 months? I know the answer. It would be through the roof. You'd do 3x what you're doing today by following that disciplined morning routine. So I asked you, when are you going to do it? Now, I gave you a lot to think about. It's late in the afternoon here. I'm super fired up. I got a couple more meetings coming up. I'm probably kind of jacked about those meetings, so you're getting a little more extra energy today versus my normal. Just kidding. Watch. If you said to me, so Tom, where do I start? Like, all this sounds great. Probably need to watch this video 2 or 3 more times. Strongly recommend it, because I know I'm going at you hard and fast. And I'm not talking about light subject matter here. I'm talking about your life's ambitions and getting it into a schedule and getting that back. You with me on this? And then your purpose, your theme, your business plan, and then your marketing as the engine that drives everything. What do I recommend? 4 things. Number 1, if you and I were sitting together, I'd say, let's complete the most basic goal setting workshop. Let's take a look at your life 5 years ago, today, and where you want to be 5 years from now. And then what is that dream list? What are going to be those ambitions that stoke the fire, that get you fired up? And I oftentimes will tell people, just tell me the areas of your life where you're the most frustrated, and then I try and reverse that into what you really want, right? I never have enough time to exercise. Let's find the time to exercise, right? So what are those life ambitions on your dream list, which we all should have? And then number 2, complete the master calendar for 2017. And this is where I'm literally going to say to you, get out a year at a glance calendar. I do it every year. And what do we normally do when we look at the calendar? We're like, oh, all you see is 365 days of work. But instead, what if you said, here's where my hobbies go. Here's where my passions go. Here's my date night in the calendar, right? Oh, Tom, you say date night, have date nights, right? You can have multiple date nights. If you're single, it could be lots of date nights, right? But the bottom line is, if it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist and never gets done, and it doesn't become the routine that we want it to be, where we have that time for ourselves. So the gym is inside there. Holidays are inside there. Vacations are inside there. Weekend getaways. Listen, real estate can take 365 days a year, or as one of my great clients who was in my office this morning, who is already on, he'll do $400 million in sales this year. 400 million. You know what he said to me? It's so amazing. When I plan everything else into my life, suddenly the clients align around my schedule. But before, when he didn't have young children and didn't have these plans, guess what? Nights, weekends, 24/7. It's old school, my friends, but you know it's true. So I plan everything in advance, and then I put my work on top of it. Here's how many open houses I'm going to do. Here's my broker previews. Here's my office meetings. Here's my hours of power. Here's my morning routine. This, my friends, this is the game changer. This is what the truly ambitious people do. This is the people that stop living in a world of this or that, and instead they say, I choose to have this and that. I want to have a wonderful relationship and a great business. I want to have lots of health and vitality and have great finances. I want to have it all. If I can put it in my schedule and design my life, everything is possible, my friends. You're an entrepreneur for a reason. You with me? Now, number 3, got to complete the business plan and the marketing plan. Got to get the tactics down. Got to know how much of what, by when. You with me on this? Got to know your wildly important goal. Got to know your KPIs, your daily number, all that good stuff. Got to know it. Got to track it. Got to measure it. Because if you don't, you're by default. And then the last one is convert it all into daily or weekly scheduled behaviors. I opened up an email a couple days ago, and I was talking to Dan over here. I wish Dan was now on camera. He's got the most amazing beard. And we were talking about this book that we're both going to read. And inside this book, there was this beautiful quote. And the quote goes like this: routine in an intelligent man is a sign of ambition. Routine in an intelligent woman is a sign of ambition. See, I think the person that doesn't embrace routine loses the ambition, because you and I both know it's do the thing, have the power. Do not the thing, have not the power. I want to do the things every day that stoke the fire of ambition in my personal life, that stoke the fire in my work life, and stoke the life of my marketing. That is the fuel that makes it all go. If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist. A lot of ground we covered on this one. Make sure you download all this stuff. It's going to be somewhere around me, north, south, east, or west. Or if you're on my YouTube channel, you might have to, I don't know, bounce back to my Facebook page or to my page. But you want to download all these things and start. And don't be that person that says, I'll get around to it later, right? My buddy Brian Tracy, longtime mentor of mine, said, most people do this thing, right? Like they talk about their goals, like someday I'll do it. Someday I'll make that happen. Someday I'll be a millionaire, and someday I'll be successful, and someday I'll be better to my spouse, and someday I'll take care of my health and vitality. And he said, basically, Tom, they leave all of their ambitions on the someday aisle. That's not an island you or I want to visit, and we don't want to put our goals there. Get started now. And by the way, share this with 5 people you love. Thanks so much for watching. Remember always, your strategy matters, and now more than ever, all this stuff and you absolutely rule. Thanks for watching. If you love what you're seeing here, then click the button below to join our online community absolutely free. Thanks so much.